To me, sexual polarity is about an arc of energy, if you like, that is created between the two poles, the feminine and the masculine poles. This, of course, can be anything. It can be an arc of energy between yourself when you're stressed and you go and walk into the nature and you feel so relaxed and just loving the nature. That sense of connecting and almost exhilaration of just feeling yourself relax and how it nurtures you is a good example of how it feels to enjoy sexual polarity. Of course, in a more traditional way, it can be energy between a very feminine person and a masculine person. So, for example, a man and a woman and a man and a man, a woman and a woman, a man and a man, depending on who is at what energy. Sexual polarity can also be can be found in your hobbies. If something exhilarates your mind, makes you focus, and you've been in your feminine, you're really enjoying that masculine energy, and you're enjoying the sexual polarity in moving or exploring the energy between your feminine essence and doing something in a really masculine way. The other way, of course, is if you're like with the nature example, you could have had a really focused day at the office and you go and you do some gentle form of yoga or dancing in the end of the day, and you get to really feel and love that sexual polarity, that energy that runs between you having been in your masculine all day and then moving more into the flow, into the feminine relaxation and everything. And a lot of people, that's for example why drinking and drugs habits are quite common these days, is because we don't find ways to relax into our feminine. We are living in very masculine societies, especially people who are living in cities. And substances can give you a sense of relief and connection into the feminine that you haven't been able to connect to in another way. That's why nurturing your soul with feminine energetic things throughout your everyday life can actually really strengthen your sexual polarity center and your ability to feel energetically connected with other people. If you don't have that nurturing self, the nurturing part of yourself where you give to yourself and you allow yourself to relax into your feminine, you tend to become you get conditioned to be maybe almost hard, or harsh is not exactly the word. It's like you become hardened to things. You don't feel emotions so easily anymore. I certainly know when I'm in the middle of work, because of my masculine social conditioning from when I was a child. When I'm doing work, I have a very masculine approach in organizing the work, but I often do the work from a very feminine place. But my default setting, if you like, is the learned masculine energy, where I go and get things done and do this and focus on that and really ace it. And if I don't get to connect into my soft feminine side, if I don't get to relax, if I don't feel safe to relax into it, I will find that my ability to connect with other people is impaired, if you like. It's not, I find myself wanting to isolate myself rather than go out and talk to people and connect with people. I think everybody knows that feeling when you feel really hassled and you just want to be left alone. That feeling is often stemming from an extended period of being in your masculine. On the other hand, you know that feeling, you might know this feeling as well, where you're really yearning for connection with people and you're really wanting to feel like a flow of excitement and some kind of a new adventure almost. And that is when you've been in your feminine but you haven't had an outlet for it. That's how that escrow, if you like, starts growing. So being also, actually, just to say quickly about being in your feminine predominantly and all the time without the masculine equaling things out or balancing your masculine. So if you're constantly in your feminine, you tend to often be directionless, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a phase. It's all ebb and flow. We just keep being this and being that and being whatever. But you tend to kind of just flow along and just, explore things and not necessarily have direction. And you might, after a while, if you're in that feminine emotional state of just feeling your emotions all the time, you may start beating yourself up for not getting things done or really meeting goals or those masculine things that are really important to us as well. So if you're looking at either being in either masculine or in your feminine all of the time is not even possible, but it's not choosing one or the other is not really healthy, because you tend to learn patterns that will stop you from growing into understanding both energies. So knowing what sexual polarity is and how the masculine and the feminine energies are manifested and how they interplay, your capacity to play with sexual polarity becomes a lot more wider. The repertoire becomes wider, and you will tend to, as a result, naturally create more meaningful and deep relationships with other people. So that's my main thought about sexual polarity. And if you want to understand it more, you need to practice it more. You need to see how it actually plays out. We could talk about the theories of it until we're all dizzy in the head. However, the best way to cultivate your ability to play with sexual polarity is to embrace your feminine energy, know when you're embracing it, embrace your masculine energy, know when you're embracing it, and then consciously choose to play with sexual polarity from either of those two places.